Hello everyone, Saryn and Saryn Prime, our beloved toxic / corrosive and viral queen in Warframe. One of the most versatile Warframes in the game, one of the Warframes that can do incredible amounts of damage and really good scaling damage as well. A steel path behemoth and an incredibly fun Warframe to play and a must-have for any sort of player. Without any further delays, let's get straight into the video with builds, of course abilities, and everything Saryn related. So, of course, abilities. Her passive, basically status effects inflicted by Saryn's weapons and or abilities last 25% longer. Pretty goddamn cool. Spores, her first ability, the main damage dealing ability and one of the best scaling abilities in the game. You cast this on an enemy, you basically cast corrosive spores or space aids as we love to call them, and basically what you do is you either shoot these, slash these a little visible I guess spores on the enemy, and or kill the enemy and they will spread around. The more they spread, the more damage they do, and the more targets they affect, the more damage they do. This ability scales really well. One thing that you have to keep in mind is of course that little bar, or I guess not, it's not a bar, it's a little circle down in the right hand corner where your abilities are. This shows you how many effects, how many I guess enemies this ability affects, and also shows you if it's decaying or not. The more that it decays, the less damage you will be doing. And of course once you recast this ability again on an enemy, your I guess decay meter and or damage number will be lowered a little bit. So keep that in mind, try to spread this ability as much as you can, and I'll show you how in just a second. Molt, her second ability. This basically sheds her skin, allows her to move a little bit faster as well, you gain a movement speed buff, and also you are able to cleanse yourself of status effects, really cool, and this draws enemy fire. This ability is really nice. We are using an ability called, or I guess a mod called Regenerative Molt, which heals 50 health per second for 10 seconds straight when casting Molt. Honestly, incredibly good ability. Toxic Lash, an ability that's usually overlooked on her, or even sometimes subsumed for a different ability. My first thing that I want to say, don't do that. Well, what does Toxic Lash do? Well, attacks deal additional toxin damage, which is really cool, and of course this effect is doubled from melee strikes, and this instantly bursts spores when attacking an affected opponent. So what does this mean? Usually when you cast spores on an enemy, you have to shoot slash the spores that are visible on the target. With this, you just basically attack them. You just basically attack them once or twice, and there you go, the spores are spread around. The, of course, damage buff that you gain on your weapons is dependent on your power strength as well. And a fourth ability, Miasma. Miasma, cast this ability, press 4, do incredible amounts of viral damage, and of course there is a base flat line 4 times, I guess, damage multiplier when spores are on the enemies. So, really cool. Now, you might be saying, well, her kit seems really interesting. How do we actually mod this incredible Warframe? Well, let me just show you. Here you go. This is the build. Keep this in mind. I am playing Steel Path. If you're using the base Warframe and just playing normal star chart, you will not need to utilize something called shield gating. Shield gating is, of course, using Brief Respite, Rolling Guard, and a Decaying Shadow key, Dragon key, sorry, and then basically surviving on that. I do have Vitality for the extra survivability, so keep that in mind, because I'm really bad at surviving, because I usually don't pay attention and I usually die. So, let's go over the mods. A Cunning Drift, Stretch for range, Regenerative Molt, which I said, of course, for healing, because I'm poo-poo at surviving. Transient Fortitude, Umbral Intensify for power strength, a Rolling Guard, of course, for that 1.3 seconds of invincibility, or I guess it's 3 seconds, I actually forgot what the ability does, I just know it gives you invincibility, and Primed Flow. Now, we do have also Prime Continuity, which I forgot to say, and I've actually become one of those main Warframe players that uses Arcane Energize. Yes, I finally decided to spend the Platinum on that, and I do have Molt Augmented. Now, keep this in mind, Arcane Energize, not a definite must. With this build, yes, I would say you do need something to gain your health back, or I guess not health, but energy back, but otherwise use either a damaging mod or like Arcane Fury and Rage. Those two could be pretty good to just increase the rifle's damage and or your melee damage, but with this build, Arcane Energize is incredibly useful, and if you have the opportunity, just use Arcane Energize. It is a really cool arcane. So instead of our fourth ability, Miasma, which honestly, a higher level gameplay isn't the best ability to have anyway, so that's why I subsumed it, and I recommend you subsume it as well if you're going to be playing high-end gameplay. I subsumed Gloom. Yes, the ability that almost everybody uses on almost every single Warframe. An amazing crowd controlling enemy, or I guess ability, that of course crowd controls enemies, makes them slower. Who doesn't like that? Making enemies much slower is incredibly good. And of course, we get lifesteal as well, which is even better. If you really get into that sticky pickle, this ability is going to save you. Now, you might be saying, what other abilities can I actually subsume instead of her fourth? One of the two best options are going to be Zata's Whisper, giving you more damage, and of course, one of the better abilities, actually with Zata's Whisper, I'm just going to link a video from Nightmare Frame. You have a little eye up there. He made an incredibly good build with Zata's Whisper, and you can use that one. The other ability is, of course, Nerj from Grendel. Incredibly good. And with this build, as you can see, I am basically not dying in the gameplay in the background, not dying, killing acolytes incredibly easy, and just surviving and killing everything. My stacks go up to 8,000 by the end of the 10-minute session that I played to record this. Incredibly good damage and scalable damage with this Warframe as well. Now, couple things that I want you guys to know. The two weapons that I'm using for my primary are Ignis Wraith, which I don't use a lot, and you might have seen that I don't use it a lot, and my melee, the Cronin Prime. Now, pick a really good melee, keep this in mind, and of course, that is going to be really nice to have, just because, of course, you're playing Steel Path. The secondary, of course, is going to be my Pew Pew Splat. If you don't know what this is a kit gun. A full video is in the little eye up there. This kit gun is extremely good. First of all, for spreading the spores, it spreads them so freaking fast. Keep your 3 active all the time, your molt when you need to recharge your shield gating, and basically it is a complete win. You can last as long as you freaking want with this build. Of course, the build of the little kit gun is on the screen right now, so you can check it up on there as well. But if you want a full guide on it, you can go and check out that video. So, Saryn Prime, an incredibly good Warframe, incredibly versatile, also useful in arbitrations, and also useful in, of course, as we all know, Elite Sanctuary Onslaughts. She can be used for like defense missions, interception missions. You can use her for fast missions because of Molt. You can, of course, shed your skin and move incredibly fast. I personally use Molt, as it is the Warframe's Subsumed Ability, on my Wukong. She is really versatile, as I said. Interception missions, incredibly easily made with this Warframe as well. So, Saryn Prime, our Toxic Queen, one of the best Warframes to have in the game, and the best Warframe just in-game in general for me, at least for multiple situations. This has been the Gaming Weasel. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, do leave a like, a comment, and do subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys on the next one. The Gaming Weasel, over and out.